what what are important I guess considerations when thinking about habitats? Like what do they currently do right now for inflatable habitats, and what does that look like for regolith built ones?
With inflatable, I think the one of the minuses, it's of course the radiation shielding and meteorite protection. But then with the 3D printed one from lunar regolith, and we have another challenge: how to make it pressurized, right? So of course there are concepts. You 3D print habitat, but then inside you put the inflatable, which basically just means that you just created a shielding by 3D printing from lunar regolith, but not like the proper structure. There are some ideas to use kind of like a plastic spray, to spray on the walls of the walls that printed from lunar regolith, and this spray should solidify everything and protect from leaking. But also it's pretty, I think, wild idea for now.
Yeah. And so what about using lava tubes or kind of already natural cavitations on the lunar surface? Um, is that viable too?
Yeah, this is actually would fit perfectly for the inflatable ones. So then you can use inflatable for having a pressurized, right, habitat, but lava tube protects you from radiation and from meteorites. Yeah, but we need to find these lava tubes, and the entrance point. How accessible is that? Yeah, so there are many questions.
Definitely, yeah. Are there any lava tubes that have been identified as like potential candidates that could be used?
I know that there were identified the lava tubes, but not as potential candidates. Like they haven't been studied
Mm,
well enough. That's what at least I know. Maybe some of the listeners have more information.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like like a great, and are you considering other topics as well? Or is that the main one?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So my advisor said that maybe we can also work on the apparatus that would create controlled dust, and then we can use it to test, equipment and etc. here on Earth in vacuum chambers before we send it to the moon, because we have, also challenge with dust, how it would clog the mechanisms, and many other issues that would arise from it. So yeah.
Mm, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean that's also a huge issue. And so I wonder, yeah, like I know that with the like lunar starship, I guess that they're planning on just leaving that back there on the surface. Um, do you think that then that could be like reinforced with regolith to provide extra radiation shielding? Or yeah, I'm curious if you're aware of like any sort of like more short term plans with the Artemis program.
Oh yeah, actually, this is the great idea. To use the Starship as a base. Maybe they, maybe that's why NASA doesn't do any certification on the um, not inflatable habitats. Maybe they already planned that to use the spaceship um, for first, at least, bases. I mean, first habitats on the moon.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen some interesting like diagrams that I think were just made by like a non NASA guy, or maybe he's a contractor, but he's just in an individual capacity bringing these up. Where it's like you take the lunar starship and then you kind of tip it. So you you take it and then you put it, instead of vertical, just horizontal, and then yeah, you cover it with rocks, basically. Yeah. It's interesting.
Sorry, I totally lost you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that I've seen some proposals where they're thinking about taking the lunar starship and then tipping it over. So like, just like astronauts come out and then they basically pull it down, which is huge, like insane because it's a skyscraper,
Hmm.
and then you just let it sit horizontally and then cover it with rocks.
Yep. But how are
Yeah.
you gonna pull it?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I saw some. It was kind of like this pulley system, I guess, where they take these basically ropes from the top, and then they tip it down in kind of like a controlled tip. I guess
Hmm.
with 1/6 gravity, it's not as bad, but I mean, it just sounds so crazy thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's why it's exciting, and I'm still in a process of choosing the right I think the right topic. So that's my two that I will concentrate and focus for the next few weeks, and I think I need to make a final decision soon. So
Yeah, awesome. Well, looks like this room is starting to fill out here. So,
hmm.
yeah, I'll briefly introduce you. So Anastasia, she is a PhD candidate at the Colorado School of Mines, and she joined us in Zero G back in, what was that? March? Yeah,
February,
or
I think.
February.
Yeah,
February. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Um, and so yeah, we had the chance to float around in zero gravity, which was a lot of fun, and we had Charlie Duke and, well, yeah, everyone already knows this, the Nicole Stott and Doug Hurley. So yeah, it was awesome, and so yeah, now we're. And by the way, Anastasia, I saw your video that you posted on Instagram. Everyone should check that out and follow Anastasia. I mean, both on Twitter and on Instagram. But she put together a great video, kind of documenting the experience. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, and
It's actually my husband did the editing of the video because he's now into film industry, so I used
that's
him.
awesome. Yeah, well, so I guess just to kick it off, I'm curious, what your thoughts were about the flight in general, and kind of maybe what your expectations were, and how that differed from actually experiencing it. Oh, did I lose you, Anastasia? Sorry, I guess we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Not sure if you guys can still hear me. There we
Pablo?
go. Can you hear me? I can hear you, Anastasia. I guess if you guys can't hear me, give me, or if you guys can hear me, give me a
I
thumbs
don't
up.
hear anyone.
Okay, Andrew can still hear me.
I can
Maybe,
hear Pablo. Anastasia's on mute.
okay, interesting. All right, well, I guess we'll see if she can reconnect here. But yeah, essentially, I mean, Anastasia's awesome. So her background, she was also she did a bunch. So she's originally from Russia, and this is actually, I think, the second, maybe even the third time that we've had her up here on stage with us. And so she did a bunch of tests out in Russia for like human spaceflight, and then she was accepted into the PhD program at the Colorado School of Mines, and yeah, there she's done a bunch of interesting projects as well. She's also a fellow with the Carmen program, which is a really cool program too. All right, there we go. I think Anastasia.
Yes,
Um,
I'm sorry. I
back.
don't know what happened.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, so I was just saying, I don't know if you heard my question, but basically, what was it like in zero gravity, and how did it differ from your expectations?
Oh yeah. Okay, so first of all, I thought that it will be like riding a roller coaster, that you will have this feeling when when your stomach goes up. But I didn't feel any of that. Actually, it was just such a um, your body was floating, and you felt so much freedom and just so much um, yeah, freedom from your own weight and from anything. And at the same time, I guess it's was adrenaline or just in general pure happiness. And I think last time when I was so happy that like you feel every part of your body is just very happy and excited, it was when I had my first skydiving experience. So maybe it's, yeah, adrenaline. That's how it works. um, and the surprising part for me was the moon gravity. I honestly I didn't even imagine how actually hard to even walk in the moon gravity. And then I imagine if you have a heavy suit on, bulky, and you need to construct something or dig the moon dirt, or do any that will be really a challenge. And you'll be very clumsy and yeah, and that's it. Just I think it will be really hard. And then I also thought about rovers and excavation systems that we want to send to the moon, how the whole movement changes with the moon gravity. um, it's I think everyone who is working on um, sending something to the moon should have the zero G flight with the moon gravity parabolas, and that might change their perspective on how to build rovers, excavation systems. I mean, any kind of apparatus or machines. I think this will be a really valuable insight. So yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess also for those that don't know, so Anastasia was the first female test subject in the world for a dry immersion experiment. Um, and the idea was essentially trying to figure out the body's adaptive reaction to gravity unloading for a sustained period of time. And so now Anastasia was able to feel the real thing with microgravity. Um, I guess what could you compare the two experiences at all? Like, I know that this was microgravity just for a short amount of time, but I'm curious, what connections your brain made between the two.
Yes, microgravity was definitely more pleasant than the experiment in dry immersion. I think it's also due to the fact that water, has pressure on your body all the time. And here it was the opposite. You feel so light, and yeah, and you don't feel limitations. You can feel limitations in movement in terms of uh, you still need to you don't have full control as in usual gravity, but the rest, yes, it's different. um, and I don't know, I think I asked astronauts, cosmonauts, after their space flight, on some of the issues that we had in dry immersion, if they had similar feelings. And there's also a cosmonaut who did both, who also did the dry immersion experiment before he became a cosmonaut, and then he flew to ISS. And he said that the dry immersion experiment was way more tougher and unpleasant than the real space flight. And yeah, but I think the most negative effect that we have from zero G, it's a muscle atrophy and redistribution of the fluids in your body, which is also the blood, and the heart system starts to work differently. So those the main things that cosmonauts face during spaceflight. We also had in dry immersion, so they were concentrated mostly on that. So yeah, it partially simulates negative effects of zero-G, the experiment, but it can do, of course, the full scale.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it does sound like a painful experience to just sit there and for those that are interested to learn more about Anastasia's dry immersion experiment, we went into it in depth in another call here that we did. So people should definitely check that out. I also wanted to ask you about the lunar regolith experiment that you tried to bring on board. I don't want to bring up a sore subject because we tried to get this on board for the longest time. We went through all the right channels with zero-G, and then it was just at the end that they said, oh, actually, due to some Kennedy Space Center regulation or something, that they can bring it. But I hope that you could still tell us a little bit about the project, and then hopefully, I mean, maybe someday we can bring it back on board for a different test.
Yeah, let me know if you plan again to have a zero-G flight. Maybe we just can, provide you with this small box with the experiment, and you still can do it.
Yeah, or I mean, we can also bring it up to Blue Origin. I see Dr. Iman in the audience too, who's our future astronaut on a Blue Origin mission. Maybe.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I know. Yeah,
Yes.
it might be tough. But we could ask for sure.
Yeah, let's definitely discuss that. So the experiment was very simple. Since we had so many restrictions and limitations, and this zero-G flight was not a scientific, right, or for research flight, so I could bring only a small size, like a box, that wouldn't harm any other flyers with us. So we were testing the lunar regolith flowability in mostly, of course, in moon gravity and Martian gravity, and of course in zero-G it wouldn't flow. And this is important because in our university, one of our PhD students, he's working on the penetrator arm that in the future, we'll hope that in a few years will actually go to the moon. And we wanted to test, we had three sieve sizes, and we wanted to see the regular flowability in moon gravity through different sieve sizes, and which sieve would work the best. We would use the sieves for the penetration arm on the moon in order to kind of like sort out the moon regolith. It's called beneficiation. And after that, we could use this regolith for other, processing, for other processes. For example, using it for 3D printing or to get out of the regolith other different chemical elements like iron or aluminum and etc. But before it needs to go to the beneficiation stage. And so they're very hesitant about the small sieve size that they have now in penetration arm, that the regolith will be just stuck, wouldn't go through with the moon gravity. So so this experiment would be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can get it on a future zero-G flight or figure out a way to make that happen. Yeah, I mean, I saw in your video on Instagram. I mean, you guys built out the whole entire apparatus, and it was all ready to go. So yeah, I feel really sorry that it wasn't able.
Yeah, I hope he didn't throw it away. Ben, he was building it with me, and so I will ask him to keep it. Maybe we'll still have a chance. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you should keep it, because I get the feeling that we'll be doing more of the zero-G flights in the future. So yeah. I also wanted to ask you. So you recently returned from the Space Symposium in Colorado. I was curious what your thoughts were. What sort of interesting things, or what's going on right now in the space community?
Yeah, this symposium was really, how to say, it was so different from any other space conferences that I went before. And I guess because it was mostly focused on militarized space and business space. Yeah. So, of course, there's like a Space Force there, and most of the talks were about defending US from space, the protection from space, and etc. So this for me was wild. And also it's pretty expensive. And apart from tickets, like I think if you want to see everything and go to every talk and etc. and like have full access, it's around $3,000, which is crazy. Um, but and also when you're there, it's at the very expensive resort in Colorado Springs. Like everything is also expensive there, just to eat or just to go somewhere. So yeah, the whole setup also like money oriented. And and I was missing, more like science. So I was there. My friends from Spacewatch Global, the editors, it's space media based in Berlin, and they're like focused on covering the global aspect of space, not only talking about what's happening in US, but in general in all over the world. And they're actually very happy to, if someone wants to write a professional piece on any of the aspects, what's happening in space. So you can, if someone who listens to me now, if they want to write a good article about any of the area in space that they want to talk, you can write me and I can connect you. And so my friends were coming here for the Space Symposium, and they asked me if I can help them, because my first degree is in space journalism. So, and that's how I got into the Space Symposium. Of course, I wouldn't pay $3,000 for a ticket. And we interviewed several companies and representatives from German Space Agency. We interviewed the founder of iSpace, and I think exactly when I was there, NASA announced that they are now partnered with JAXA, and so JAXA would build the pressurized rover for the moon, and in exchange, NASA would take, I think, 2 of their astronauts, as I remember correctly. So that was exciting. And also I went to the space talk tracks, and that I enjoyed the most, because I actually didn't know that NASA is planning a mission to Uranus, which is wild and so exciting. So yeah, I think that's what. Yeah.
To where? Sorry, I didn't.
To the Uranus,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh.
Well, and of course they're also hoping for the Starship. So they're planning to send the apparatus on the Starship in one piece. And I don't know. Well, the schedule will shift depending on that. So we're not going to see it happening in the next 10 years. But still, it's exciting that they have the whole plan to also explore the Uranus.
Yeah, definitely. So I kind of want to. I mean, I think you have a very unique perspective on um, yeah, this conference, coming from Russia. So you said that it really it surprised you that it was like so kind of military focused or defense focused. Yeah, I'm curious. What are the conversations like in Russia when they talk about the United States and like their defense interests in space? Um, yeah.
Uh, I think when I was in Russia, the conference that I went to, there were about science, like hardcore science, um, and more like Soviet style science. I don't know how to call it, but yeah, there's a lot of usually it's a lot of old men and talking about like starting from fundamental science to biomedical and because we are still using Soyuz spaceships, and yes, we have some new kind of new rocket types and etc., but we don't have big plans for developing totally new systems for space. And I don't know now. I haven't been to space conference for like 2 years there, since the whole thing started to happen. But I don't know now how much they talk about also defense and space. But before it was mostly about science and engineering.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if the conversations have changed since the war. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah that's yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that in the U.S., it does seem to vary. I mean, I haven't been to a ton of space conferences, but there seems like there are a lot of different flavors of conference. Some that are more scientific, and yeah, I guess others that are more business, and some that are more military. Hmm. There does seem to be, to me at least, from what I've been seeing, is definitely a rise in sort of defense technology, like defense tech in general, and yeah,
Hmm.
that's been a trend that I've seen definitely growing in the last year or two, especially when it comes to like startups, like new businesses. It seems like there's a lot of defense tech. Um, hmm.
Yeah, because they can get good money for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it seems like the United States is definitely ramping up the amount of investments that they're making into defense tech. So, yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, yeah. What have you noticed that shift in, I guess, when it comes to your work at the Colorado School of Mines? Where are most of the PhDs receiving their funding from these days? Is it the government, and what kind of things are they most interested in funding?
Yeah, it's mostly NASA grants. So it's SBIR or together with small companies or startups. Usually, most of the times that the projects we work on, it's mines and startups. So yeah, I think about like I haven't heard that anyone got a grant from DARPA or something close to that. So mostly it's from NASA.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, now DARPA is heavily investing in lunar infrastructure. They've announced a couple programs now. They have the Luna 10 program, and then also they recently announced the Shale, the I think it's six or seven. It might have been seven hypothesis to accelerate a lunar economy. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I don't know if here for me a match of um, prospect because of my passport. So, and just imagine at the conference that there are like bunch of military guys, and they start to talk to me, and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And you say Russian. You should see their faces. So it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I'd love to hear more about your experience in the United States as someone from Russia. And also your, I guess, experience on the other end, because you're kind of in between these two worlds. Yeah, were there any reactions from back home about you doing this zero gravity flight, or even, I guess, your PhD? That's
Oh.
very difficult to bridge.
Yeah, it's it's like back home, someone well thinks I'm a traitor. Here, someone thinks I'm a spy. So it's like, yeah. um, and I remember, I think, yes, I put one video from Zero G, and we all had the same space. I mean, not the space, the jumpsuits, and there was an American flag on mine because everyone had the same. And so when I put this video on, there was one Russian journalist who commented that, oh, Anastasia don't like so much now her homeland, so she already put the American flag on her, something like that, like. And I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, but I explained, and after that, he was at peace. But I know there will be, this kind of accusations or something like that. In US, I didn't feel any nationalism, um, but at the conference, or I felt some biases. Yeah, exactly at this conference. So it's, I think, in 2 years for the first time when I felt really uncomfortable. And I guess it's because there were a lot of military people. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
I would have loved to be there just to see people's reactions to you saying that you're Russian. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one lady, she came to me, there was a French reception, and she thought I'm French. And so she started to talk to me, and then she's like, oh, where are you from? I was like, okay, from Russia. And I asked her, where does she work? And she's like, NATO. I was like, great. So yeah, it just, yeah, it's interesting to watch their faces. So
Yeah, I bet. And so you're also part of a program called the Carmen Fellowship, and I, thanks to you, was able to connect with the founder, and they have a really amazing mission of kind of like establishing a space for different countries to kind of talk about the space and our future. And I'm curious, you know, so you've attended some of the meetings with the Carmen Fellowship, and they have people from China, from the United States, from Russia, obviously. And I'm curious how those conversations go these days. So, what is sort of like the feeling? Um,
yeah, so my friend who works in NASA told me about this Carmen Fellowship. I didn't know about them before, and she's like, you should apply. And so I looked, I googled it, and I was like, wow, they have like astronauts, as their fellows and etc. And so I thought that my chances to get this fellowship they're pretty low. And especially it was the war started and everything, so I knew how you know that most of the organizations wouldn't risk to take Russian, so which is understandable, but still sucks. And yeah, so I applied, and apparently they still like they were still happy to give me this fellowship, because that's the whole point of Carmen, and I think that's why they're different from other organizations. No matter what, they want to include the voices of everyone, and to really represent the whole world and the views on space sector from different countries, where you would, like in other organizations, you're right, you wouldn't see that, the Chinese, Russian, and American sit together and discuss space. Unfortunately, world is so polarized now. So I think that's the number one um, inspiration and respect to the Carmen. And so yeah, we had this. We started this fellowship. Most of the we had online sessions, like meeting the 15 fellows and getting to know each other, and how we look at different topics in space. What would we could do together, and then we had 5 days or a week, Carmen week at Maldives. Every year it's a different location, and this time they decided to bring it to Maldives because there is evolving Maldivian space research organization. I think it's like 1 or 2 years old, and we partnered with them, and so we came there to brainstorm and on the projects and cooperation and how we can help Maldives using space. And it was amazing because, usually you go to Maldives as a tourist to lay down at the fancy resort. But here we went to actually schools, the island schools, and talked to the kids. We went to university, we met some government representatives. And after this week, there were born many cooperations that would help Maldives. I think one of the project now, they're working on actually sending the coral to space, to ISS for the experiments. And as from my side, since I'm an ambassador of a charity project in Russia that helps kids with cancer, that provides the psychological support and also sends their dreams to space. So I hopefully we will bring this to Maldives together with some of the cosmonauts. So yeah, fingers crossed it will work out.
Yeah, that's amazing. Maybe we can sponsor to have their DNA sent out too, with LifeShip.
Yeah. Yes, that's actually a great idea. Wow. Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so I hope I don't embarrass you here, but someone told me, a little birdie, that you are. I mean, you're completing your PhD, and you're looking for, I guess, employment at some point after your PhD is finished. I mean, I would love if the MoonDAO community can help support you and finding, something. But I'm also curious to hear what your, I guess, dream job in the space world looks like. So what kind of jobs are you looking for? What are you interested in?
Yeah, no, you don't embarrass. Thank you. I'm even looking for a job now because for me, I guess I can do PhD and I can do a full-time job. It's okay. I'm I'm used to more like intense schedule and workflow when I was back at home in Moscow. So and I was when I was here first year, I was doing all the courses and studying and also working. I think one job and then I had also another job. Yeah, so it's okay, and that's why I'm 38, so I don't I am feeling that I'm running out of time and I want to do as more as possible and be really productive and useful. So for me, I think I was looking here now for jobs in, of course, human spaceflight sector. This is my passion, and it's pretty narrow field. So that's why it's challenging. First of all, not many options there. Second, I have a green card, but still they would give the preference to the citizenship holders because you would work with NASA and government and who knows, maybe defense. So I understand also that. And I guess because I don't even remember when I was looking for a job before. And here it's a totally new field, how everything is going, how there is like a, I guess, software that filters your CV and it should be formed in this particular way and etc. So for me, this all interesting and wild. But yeah, it just really. I think my conclusion that you need to use connections, and that's how you will find a job. Because I think my minus and plus, if you look at my CV, it's so diverse. So I don't have like, for example, you can be a chemical engineer and like 10 years of experience, and that's it. And I tried so many different professions, and that's why I think it's can be minus, but also can be plus. It depends on the employer. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think I'm biased because I'd love for you to lead a project with MoonDAO, and would like to recruit you. But you know,
I will be happy. No.
so yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think well, yeah, we should try to help you here in the MoonDAO community and see what sort of connections our members have. I mean, I've been incredibly surprised in the past just how connected some of our members are, and obviously, you know, we have a close tie with Blue Origin, who will be doing a lot of human spaceflight, and I mean already is obviously. So yeah, maybe we can talk about how to introduce you. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
But yeah, and also this is something that we've been kind of working on a little bit quietly at MoonDAO, which is kind of a rollout of. This isn't the perfect way to frame it, but it's kind of a professional network. Because we have a lot of partners and organizations and companies that we work with, and you know, and we also have amazing members inside of the community that would love to find, you know, position in industry. So yeah, I was actually just on a call earlier today with the Open Lunar Foundation. I'm not sure. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so MoonDAO helped. We made a donation to Open Lunar for 5 fellows, and so far MoonDAO has had 2 fellows. One of them was Phil, and another is Sam, and they're actually looking for new fellows for their new cohort, and so there's three slots, and that the MoonDAO has helped to fund, and so yeah, I mean we should do
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
actually, the co-founder Jacob, he was my Carmen fellow. We were together at Maldives.
Yeah. Okay, so you already know everyone, Anastasia.
Okay, you know what is my problem? Okay, I love to connect people, and I really introduced so many different people with each other. Like, and some people started their startup and found investors through my connections. I love to do that. It's kind of like my, it just, you know, like for my karma. But it's so hard to ask for myself. It's a disaster. So I don't ask. So yeah, I need to work on that.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure many people would like to return your favor. Anastasia's already connected me with a number of people, and yeah, so we should return the favor here at MoonDAO. If anyone in the audience knows, you know, people at companies that are working on a human spaceflight, we should reach out to her, or yeah, we can figure out how to get you connected. Yeah.
Yeah, like recently, I saw a really interesting job position. It's a human performance research engineer. So something like that is, I think, cool. Or yeah, working with the crew and etc. Because I have my experience working in Moscow at Institute of Biomedical Problems. After I spent 4 months in isolation project together, which was organized together with NASA Human Research Program. I started to work on the station itself, what to change there, from interior design. to the different materials that can be used in the enclosed facilities and with its own, and pressurized facilities, because some of the materials, they off gas, which is not healthy for humans. And also part of this, how everything inside would affect the psychology of the crew members. So after spending 4 months, I know how colors affect you, smells, and many other things. And also I knew, and I hope I still know, who would be the best for the next missions, because we then had 8 months mission ahead, and so I was part of the crew recruitment team, and then I was kind of a babysitter of the crew of 12 test subjects that we chose. So there were 6 backup test subjects and 6 main ones, and they had to train 3 months before the 8 months isolation started. And so all these 3 months I was with them, like managing them, and then also choosing like the clothes that they should wear when they're training, that they should wear inside, because from the previous experiment and experience, I knew what will be terrible, what would not, the food, also the menu, so many things. So yeah, so I love to do all that, how to make life easier and more comfortable, and hence the work productive in in space habitat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think well, yeah, at least in the US it sounds like you should work for SpaceX or Blue Origin or NASA. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my passport will be it will be a bit hard. So we can start with private projects, or I don't know, startups, who knows. So I was thinking that maybe that's the right way for now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, is that I guess, is that a very big hurdle right now for any company, I guess, that has a federal contract? Is it the case that they cannot hire anyone that isn't a US citizen?
Well, at all these job positions, they say if you have a green card, you can apply. But when I talk to people who work for NASA as a contractor, they say that although it's written like that, but still they prefer to give jobs to the US citizens, because, yes, it's less hurdle because of the ITAR restrictions. And yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it depends. Like if employer is not afraid of extra hassle, yeah, I think it's still manageable. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always the. I mean, well, I was born in the United States, but I'm an immigrant. My family's Spanish, and it was incredibly difficult for them to emigrate to the United States. And it's crazy to me just how difficult it's become in the United States. Especially, I mean, people that are skilled. I think this is, it's what's made America so great. It's that there's a brain drain, right? Like the
Hmm.
best people from all over the world, and bring them here. And so it just seems to me that like we've forgotten that or something. I don't know. um,
It's funny, like, since I passed through this process of the green card, and winning the zero G flight and being part of MoonDAO actually also helped me. So thank you for recommendation letters. But I saw that people who just passed the border through Mexico, basically like illegally, but then they were accepted to the US, has like didn't spend money on the lawyers, didn't spend any stress and nerves on this whole process of getting, like, I got the extraordinary ability green card. So they got so many benefits, and they just they did it like a legal way, but still it's like way easier than to be a scientist or engineer. So it's I think the modern days, I don't know, paradox or absurd. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Um, but yeah, I mean, hopefully we can. Well, in the meantime, this benefits MoonDAO because then we can work together maybe on a project. Something that we've been kind of kicking around for a while is doing an analog mission. And I mean, I can already see 4 people in the audience that have done analog missions before. So I think we could really put together an amazing crew. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think we could absolutely use your advice on putting something like that together. Um,
I will be happy. Use me.
yeah. And so you've been part of analog missions before, right? You did one with the Mars Society, I think. Was that? Am I? Yeah.
Yeah, with Mars Society, we did 3 months in Utah Desert and 1 month in Arctic.
Got it. Okay. What? Yeah. So I guess what would you recommend for MoonDAO? Do you think the Arctic one is more applicable, or I guess yeah? What could you tell us about the differences between the 2 experiences and the challenges?
I think it also depends on the goals of the mission. So if you're more, it depends. If, for example, if you're more into the field studies, if it's like geological scouting, microbiology, etc., or if it's more on physiology and psychology in confined space. Yeah, that's where the differences are. With Arctic, it's closer to the reality of Mars because it's so remote, and there are many dangers, and you're really isolated there, and you rely only on yourself, and also on the resources that at that island or at that station. So if, for example, when we were there, if something happens, because there are polar bears, thanks God they didn't come to our station. But so if someone gets injured and the weather is terrible, we would wait for a twin otter plane to pick us up for a few days or maybe even a week. And imagine that you have to be able to have at least like first aid experience and help your crew member. Or the generator was broken and we could just be freeze there. So you have to have talented engineers to fix many things that vital for your life on the island. Yeah, so it's an interesting experience. It depends what you want.
And
What is your
how
goal?
long were you there in the Arctic?
We're supposed to be there 3 months, but because of the weather, we couldn't land. There is no airstrip, proper one, and snow didn't melt, so we had to wait on Resolute Bay. It's a Canadian part of Arctic, I think, for like 3 weeks. So basically, we just spent 1 month instead of 3 because of the weather restrictions.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds. Uh, well, yeah. Are there bears there? Like, are there any? Is there wildlife?
Yeah, there are bears, but the station located in the middle of the island, and bears mostly hunt at the seashore, so at least that is good. But I think before, several times bears were coming to the station, not on when we were there. So before we came to the island, we had to learn how to shoot from the gun. And every time we did EVA in the spacesuits, one crew member was without spacesuit but with the gun. We called him Bear Watcher. So yeah.
That's awesome.
But I remember when I was a bear watcher, and you watch, and always like stress, right? So you look around and you see a white dot and you far away and you're like, okay, is that just a snow or it's moving? So yeah, it was interesting. And also, I don't know if this gun would help. um polar bears, the most dangerous creatures on earth. So yeah, we were lucky that we didn't see any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any experience in this. I don't. But yeah, it's hard. I feel like a polar bear could definitely still attack you even if you shot it multiple times.
Yes, and you can be a terrible shooter, right? So you could miss. And it's crazy that in Canada, if you kill polar bear, there is a fee. I think $10,000. So you're screwed anyway.
Wow, so it's either you die or you pay $10,000. There's no other
Yeah.
option.
Yep.
Oh my god. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. But
And I think also another wild thing we did there.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm one of the, I don't know how many tens of people who did it. So I was burning my own, and not only my own, but also crew's poop. Yeah. So the island is so wild, and you cannot leave there anything left. So if you do number one, it goes into the big barrel, and then this barrel goes on the plane. If you do number two, you do it into a plastic bag, and then you put it into the incinerator, like outside of this habitat. We had this kind of big oven, and you burn it. So I think maybe also because of that, polar bears didn't come.
They were looking at you like these people are crazy. I don't want anything
Yeah,
to do with these people. They're burning their own shit.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that must have been an amazing experience. So this is like within the Arctic Circle. So like extremely
yeah.
north. Wow, in Canada. Wow.
And I think the drawback for if you're planning the mission is the cost. So of course, going to MDRS is way cheaper, but going to Arctic, it will be quite expensive.
Yeah. And so is there any like infrastructure set up there, or was it really just you show up and bring, I guess you have to bring some sort of habitat, right? Like
Oh no, they have a habitat there, so it the same as at MDRS, the same design. And so it's 2 floors there, and you have pretty much everything needed to survive. If it's a summertime, of course not at winter. At winter, it's not good for winter. And so the water supplies, usually we were getting water from the melted snow, and electricity came from diesel generator. So we had to be really limited on how we use the electricity. And food, yeah, and just the food that you brought it with you. So yeah, you're really like on Mars in this matter.
interesting. But I guess, well, is it like a special kind of diesel? Because I imagine you still need combustion with oxygen. Um, so well, I guess it doesn't matter. On Mars you'd have like solar, I guess, or
Yes,
solar, so
yeah.
interesting. Wow, yeah, that's awesome. So it was already there. You guys didn't have to build anything. That's cool. So and it's people go there what, like once a year? How often does Mars Society use that?
Oh, so not often because it's so expensive to fly there. When we came there, it was in 2017, and before that, the last time humans were there 5 years ago.
Wow.
So we didn't know in which shape and condition the habitat is, and so we were expecting that it might be in a bad shape, but no, it was good. I think the most issues are with the it's like 97% humidity there because it's an island, and there is a lot of moss, right? Yeah, the correct word. And that's that's an issue. You really have to get rid of that and clean it, because if it gets into your lungs, that's terrible. I think you have to really have a therapy for many years to get rid of this.
Wow.
Yeah. But we were lucky, all good, everyone's healthy. We were just doing a lot of cleaning there with Clorox. And yeah, the humidity is terrible there. So we, like, in the morning when you wake up, they're like, water, well, not dripping, but you can see water on the walls from the condensation. And since we were saving on the diesel, we didn't heat at night. We didn't turn on the diesel and the heaters at night, so we were sleeping. I would say like +7 or 10 degrees Celsius, maybe sometimes lower, and plus 97% humidity. So imagine how great it is to get out from the sleeping bag and change clothes.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I love humans that we're. I mean, obviously, if we're planning to go to space, like this is just a very small fraction of the sort of discomfort that someone might face. So, I guess when you put it in those sort of terms, like this is yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But also, yeah, the lengths that we go in order to kind of simulate certain things, even the zero gravity flight, like having a plane that's adjusted to do these crazy parabolas. It's just amazing what humans come up with. So I guess we're a little bit past the hour here, so I want to be mindful of your time. And yeah, I don't know if you have a hard cutoff or when you need to drop off, but I just want to make sure.
I know I'm good. So
Okay. Well, yeah, I thought it might be good if anyone in the audience wants to ask Anastasia a question, and they'd like to request to jump up, that they, feel free. I know Ryan is behind the MoonDAO account too. Ryan, I don't know if there's any questions that you have for Anastasia. Yeah, just thought we could open it up a little bit, and maybe for the last 15 minutes or so, have people jump up and ask. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I wanted to say once again, big, huge thank you for the zero G flight and the contest. You're really giving access to this amazing opportunity. That we wouldn't have an access in like old school life before, like traditional one, when only the NASA or Roscosmos employees and etc. could flown on these flights, or military pilots, etc. So it's so great. You're already decentralizing space so much. So I wish all the luck to MoonDAO.
Thank you for the nice words. Okay, so we've got Hacker Twins and Andrew up here. I guess we'll do Hacker Twins first. Oh, okay. Oh no,
sorry.
there we go.
How's it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Hey, so I do maker projects with my brother, and I was interested in the moon regolith part, but I kind of came in a little late. One of the maker projects that I think MoonDAO might be interested in doing with us, or just watching us make, is a regolith separator. There's like a electrostatic magnet, and even just like a regular magnet, and just general grading systems. Do you know anything about regolith separators, and or even just your ideas around them? Because we think it would be really valuable to set them up as soon as possible, so materials could be separated and ready for like electrolysis, separation, and all these different chemical reactions that'll need to happen.
Yeah, we definitely have studied different types of regolith separation during our course on regolith properties by Professor Cannon. And when I was doing my internship at Pioneer Astronautics, we did regolith separation using vibration, which is like the easiest one. What you're offering, it's really also interesting, and there are some experiments on that. And yeah, and this is an important part of actually using the lunar regolith for any other, for building and or producing any other materials out of that. That's the one of the first stages that we need to, that the regolith needs to pass through. So yes, let's discuss it. I mean,
Yeah. May I ask? Did you say you had some lunar regolith, or like was it like artificially made on Earth? Or
oh, of course, it's
yeah,
simulant.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
simulant. Yeah.
But that's awesome. Okay, but I mean that's part of the, like if we were to make a separator, we would have to know how to artificially make some.
That's the name for the lunar regolith that NASA uses. I mean, simulated lunar regolith. You can check this out. But there are a few other places that make the lunar regolith. Also, Colorado School of Mines is doing them. So if you need, just write me. I can give you the contacts and help as I can.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Even if we just came up with like a conveyor belt idea of like magnet, vibration, even just like a grid to separate the sizes. That'd be really fun. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Andrew, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for coming on, Anastasia.
Thank you.
Quick question about lunar regolith dust. How to prevent from getting on things, or how to get it off of things. The dust itself. I've read some articles about people like in the new suits, moonwalking suits. They're going to use electrical discharge, or electrical charging of the suit, exterior of the suit, to help see if they can repel the dust. Is that you guys working on anything similar like that?
No, but also at Pioneer Astronautics, we had a project that on a dust coating. So they were testing different types of coating that would repel the dust.
Oh, passively?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because the big difference between an active and passive, especially if you're active and it's involving electricity, you have to worry about battery life and so forth like that. But a passive system would obviously be much more efficient. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. Well, yeah, feel free to hang out, guys. Andrew and Hacker Twins. Or if you guys have other questions, or Ryan, feel free. Yeah, or if anyone else in the audience wants to jump up. Oh, we got one more. Julio. Julio is also, I mean, up on stage right now are three people that have done analog astronaut missions. So that's awesome. We're actually outnumbered. Hey Julio, how's it going?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to listen, Pablo, and also Anastasia. And also, I'm here to invite everyone interested to analog missions. We are operating in Brazil, in Brazilian semi-arid, the Habitat Mart. But now we have in the end of May, the first mission in lunar habitat. In this case, we are becoming a space complex with 3 different analog sites, and we plan 5 missions until the end of 2024. And everybody are welcome to travel to Brazil and have this experience in the countryside. Okay, thanks so much.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love to come and see it. Julio, sorry, not Julie. The best way to pronounce. How can you tell us more about the stations? Are they like fully hermetic, pressurized, or what are the features?
It's not pressurized, the station, but we are trying to look to operate as operating self-sustaining systems. using solar panels and also treating the sewage. One of them is completely off grid. In this case, we are collecting the rainwater using solar panels, stationary batteries. In this case is our lava cave habitat. Is the third habitat. In this case, is three lava cave Luna habitat. When will happen the first mission the end of the month, and the habitat marked was the first. We started during December of 2017. Now we are operating during 6 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes, and it's very very easy to contact us. Also looking for us in social media. There is a public call for applications. Also, researchers can send some proposals of research to be developed during the analog missions. And now we operate around 200 protocols and surveys in the missions.
Wow, that's a lot. Amazing. Pablo, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. Yeah, I feel like Julio, you might be like the most prominent analog astronaut organizer, I think, in the world, at least as far as I know.
Yes, 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 and we also the something that would be easier worldwide is we develop a methodology of virtual missions. This is very unique. Is also very interesting. Also is happening now. It's happening a virtual mission with participants from Venezuela and India, and it's very interesting because this can be scalable, having participants from many countries. Also, since students from high school to PhD participate in virtual missions, and we just had a lot of discussions transformed to papers from the virtual missions, and it would be easier from people worldwide to take part of one virtual mission that is not expensive and also very feasible to take part.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Let us know how MoonDAO can support your work and what you're doing. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing some awesome stuff and also doing it with people from all over the world. So yeah, that's very aligned with MoonDAO.
Yeah, thanks so much. And we are, for us, very important partnerships because with partnerships you can also offer like scholarships to students and researchers worldwide. It would be very important, like some possibility of funding and also partnerships to share because the participants are very satisfied with the results, and but you need to share more and let have more impact worldwide.
Definitely. Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, I don't know. Are there any other questions for Anastasia? Any other thoughts or anyone in the audience that would like to ask a question? Okay. Well, yeah, I guess if not, we can close it up. Anastasia, thank you for the last hour and 20 minutes. You know, it's amazing as always. I think this is maybe the third time that we've had you as a guest, and yeah, each time is better than the next. So and let's see if we can support you as you're trying to find a position here. Yeah, and let's keep talking. Let's see if we can organize something as a project.
Yes, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm really always I appreciate it a lot and honored to be part of this community. And that's, you know, the things that I'm doing is interesting to you. So it's great because, you know, we all need this validation and seeing that all the work that you did will be useful. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. And also everyone can reach out if they need any, I don't know, contacts dealing with space resources or with anything else that I talked today about, or Spacewatch Global Media, or about Carmen Fellowship, I will be happy to talk to you. So thank you.
Welcome to MoonDAO,
Awesome.
a revolutionary
Thank you, everyone.
governance model and
Yeah.
mission-oriented
Thank
community
you. Bye.
that's
Bye.
reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.